So let's dive on in. This would be one of the lessons I would use toward the beginning of the unit, and it would be I can describe a classroom. To start off, I like to use some type of open-ended question. And for this one, I went ahead and chose a prior knowledge question. Since it's the beginning of the unit and a fresh lesson, I wanted to see what can students already say in the target language and describe a classroom. So here for a novice high, I might expect something like small, big, teachers, friends, students, and other simple phrases that are related to that. So this just gives me a little way to kind of start off, see where we're at, and we'll build on from there. Next, I want to give them some input. And to do this, I found these pictures. I saw this article a few years back and we were all lesson planning together, and every language teacher talked about how they could use these. This is a photo series that's called Classrooms from Around the World. If you Google that, you'll be able to find these articles in your target language. And this is how I started the lesson. I showed them the picture, and then I started asking them this or that questions or other simple answer questions. So for example, this first picture, I might ask them, what do you think? Is this a primary school or a high school? Are there girls or boys? Or both? Are they wearing uniforms? Yes or no? And you'll see in the picture, I gave them some little drawings to help them understand what these new vocabulary words are that we were working on. After we've done a few of the photos, I would see if they can do it on their own. Maybe ask each other the questions or let them describe them on their own. Now that they've had some practice and they've worked with these new words, I'm going to send them to go do their own research. As I mentioned before in the planning, I've assigned to each student either a city or a country for them to do their research in. So now they're going to go find pictures of classrooms, and I highly encourage them to find a few from different public schools, a few from private schools, just so they see all the different types of schools that a city can have. Then they will use the vocabulary before, or they may need to add some of their own words to report back to the class about what they learned. Now that they've had a little more practice with the vocabulary, this would be a great chance to bring in a guest speaker, maybe an exchange student or someone that's gone to a different school in a different country, to come in and talk about what the classrooms look like there. I put a few tips on here on just how to make that go a little smoother. To wrap up this lesson, I would send them home with some intercultural reflections. It could be something like comparing the classrooms, what they saw, would they want to be an exchange student after hearing someone else talk about it, and simply looking at public versus private schools in another city and comparing to their own. I wouldn't necessarily give them all three of those, or you could, depends. And again, I'm going to let them do this in English if they don't have the language skills to do that, but if they do, then absolutely encourage them to put these in the target language as well. Well, that wraps up the first lesson idea there. I hope you got a few ideas there and you could add your own as well.